In this video, we'll be seeing the topic of emotions and feelings. Now let's see emotions. Emotions are comparatively more complex. And what is feelings? Feelings are basically an affective process that is what simple in nature. So emotions, they are more complex, comparatively more complex. Whereas feelings, what is it? It is simple in nature. They are affective process. It is basically an affective process that is simple in nature. Any emotional experience is preceded and accompanied by feelings. Now example. Feeling of pleasure will lead or will be accompanied with emotion of happiness and joy. So here we saw. So this example explains this line of any emotional experience is preceded and accompanied by feeling. So here the feeling of pleasure, it was accompanied by the emotion of happiness and joy. Happiness or joy. Now in feeling, emotional experience may or may not occur. So in feeling, what happens is that emotional experience may or may not occur. For example, an individual may experience feelings of pleasure or pain without experiencing any emotions. Now, emotion is an affective process that is much more active, whereas feeling is a process that is comparatively less active. So, emotion it is much more active, whereas feeling it is comparatively less active. Emotion is an affective process that is much more active, and feeling is process that is comparatively less active. Now, emotion is both subjective and objective. Feeling is subjective in nature. Now, remember this point. One, two, three. This is fourth point. Remember this point. Emotion is both subjective and objective. Feeling is subjective in nature. We will talk about it in this slide, in these two slides. Now emotions, now let's see the further points. Emotions are of different types. For example, anger, joy, jealous, and so on. Feelings are mainly categorized into pleasure and pain. Physiological changes are experienced. So in emotions, physiological changes are experienced, and whereas in the feelings, physiological changes may not be noticed. Now let's understand these 2 points. Emotion is both subjective and objective. Feeling is subjective in nature. What does that actually mean? Emotion has two sides, as it says in this point. Emotion is both subjective and objective. So emotion has two sides, a subjective side and an objective side. So what is the subjective side? What you personally experience inside. For example, feeling scared or excited. So this is the subjective side, where what you personally experience inside. For example, feeling scared or excited. And what is an objective side? It is something which like it is what others can observe. Your facial expressions, tone of voice, body language. So subjective side is something which you personally experience inside. It is experienced inside, whereas objective side is something which can be observed by others. So emotion is both something you feel internally and something that can be seen externally. Feeling, on the other hand, is only, now what we saw here is that feeling is only subjective in nature. So feeling is, on the other hand, is only the inner experience. It's the personal private part, like the butterflies in your stomach or the warmth of happiness, that no one else can directly observe. So your feelings is something which is subjective, which is something, it is not observable, so no one else can directly observe the feelings. In short, emotion is equal to inner experience subjective plus outward signs objective. Feeling, only the inner experience subjective. And that is it for this video. It was a really short and really simple topic. That's why the video is really short. I'll give you some time to take the screenshot. And I'll see you in the next video. Also, if you love the video, like the video and subscribe to the channel as well.